Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon. This afternoon, happy Tuesday to everybody out there, as we're going to have plenty of things to discuss today. Lots going on in the sports landscape. Of course, we'll talk some Razorback basketball, get some Razorback baseball, a lot of those things that have been going on, as well as looking around at the SEC, get into some football talk, get into some heavy hitters, and of course, get into all of your chats, which I'm sure will be completely sane and totally normal when we get into those discussions. But fellas, it's Tuesday. How are the vibes here on this Tuesday afternoon?
Pretty good. Yeah, doing all right. Doing better than I was yesterday. That's for sure. Every day that goes by, you just forget and you start looking forward to the future a little bit more. But no, I'm good, man. Looking forward to today. Looking forward to getting out to Blue Ember tomorrow. Things are looking up around here.
Yeah, I'm in a weirdly good mood today. So I'm gonna be like I'm gonna be grooving, acting silly, just creating some dialogue, creating some narratives, but also just having some fun with my boys, talking ball. We don't have any basketball games to disappoint us until Saturday, and so we got a lot of time on our hands. We might as well have some fun, right?
Yeah, at least we have that to look forward to with a little 11 a.m. early tip for Arkansas, Mississippi State on Saturday. But that's right. Yeah, we're going to be at Blue Ember tomorrow, which is going to be exciting. Come on out right there on Pleasant Grove Road at their Blue Ember Smokehouse location in Rogers, as we'll start there at noon, get some great food and some great vibes and some great talk as well. And I don't know, I think we talked a little bit about it yesterday, and I know you guys did the Inside the SEC basketball live stream yesterday, but it's kind of like I feel nice that it's like a week off, not having a midweek game. It's kind of nice. I don't know if it's nice in the way of just not having to, worry about scheduling and putting everything to make it all work. I don't know if it's just nice because you get to go to bed at mainly a decent hour, the rest of the way, because you don't have an 8 p.m. tip, which seems to be every midweek game that Arkansas ever plays. I don't know what it is, but it just seems like if there's ever a time to hit a bye week, it's right now. I feel good about it. I like the timing of it. It feels just right. Maybe it's because it's the midway point of the SEC slate, but just for me personally and selfishly, I actually kind of like it at this point in time.
Yeah, let them rest, regroup, reset, recover, all those words that start with an R, I guess. But no, I think they need that. We can use it. I will say it's been a challenge to do daily pot at the Palaces during this bye week. Coming off of that loss, it's like, all right, what do these people want to hear about? What are they going to listen to? I think today hit the mark because we looked ahead to portal season and everything else. People like that, man. But yeah, they need this. And they've got some stuff that they need to work on. Sometimes that's hard to do when you play a game, you get a rest day, and then the next day it's like, okay, we gotta get in the game plan. We got to get into prep. We got to worry about an opponent. Now they can take a little bit of time to worry about themselves while getting some guys healed up. Like we mentioned, Malik Thomas, he's walking around a boot. He's still got, 85 layers of tape on his hand. Like, let's get our man healthy here for the final stretch of the season. And you know how it is. It's a war in the SEC. So a bunch of these dudes are dinged up, bruised up, and maybe they'll come out with their hair lit on fire, or at least have their legs underneath them so they appear to be playing a little bit harder when they get back out on the floor.
Yeah, we like to do this thing as fans, and particularly us when we're like, in the position we are, where we like really lump ourselves in with the team, and we think like our mindset and our focus has any effect whatsoever on what's going on in real life with the team. So for us, the fans, this week does suck. And for us, the people that make content about this team, this week does suck, especially for Curtis, who's sitting here just trying to string together whatever he can. But it is good for the team, which is the important part, because they're the only thing that matters. It only matters what they're doing behind closed doors, how they feel about this, what improvements, what adjustments, what just mental reset they're able to do this week. John, I'm going to give you one of your favorite quotes of all time. Hope is like the sun. If you can only believe in it when you see it, you'll never make it through the night. If you have to, we're not going to get to see anything this week. We're not going to get to see Arkansas play basketball and see proof of concept that they're actually doing all this stuff. But is it happening behind closed doors? Well, we have no guarantee for that either, but that's kind of what we're going to have to wait around and see. And these are the fun conversations we get to have until Saturday. But if they end up playing well on Saturday, we're all going to do the game where we're like, man, they made the adjustments. This is 2.0 Cal's Razorbacks. This is his real team. Last week, that wasn't them. That was the fake Razorbacks. Now they're reset, refocused. We're on to March.
Should I know that quote? Is that like a quote I should know?
Yeah, that came from your girl, Admiral Holdo. played by Laura Dern.
Now I know why I don't know it, because that was like something I tried to delete out of my memory. I was trying to think. I'm like, I don't want to embarrass Andrew, but I'm like, I don't know that quote. So, but it makes sense though. Yes, at least it hit home on that regard. But you're right though. It's like, you gotta look at it as from the perspective of trying to get everything back to normal, back to rejuvenation and everything. And in fact, I know you were still a few days out from Arkansas actually playing Mississippi State. Hey, Chris Jans had some stuff to say about John Calipari. It's not anything like really revolutionary, but it was kind of interesting where he was talking about Cal being at Arkansas, and this comes from Mississippi State coach Chris Jans. He says, just from watching him and competing against him at Kentucky, and now he's at Arkansas, I'm in no position to speak for him, but from the outside looking in, he seems rejuvenated. He seems like he's got a little bounce to his step. I'd say the change, I would imagine he would say, I don't pay much attention to it, has been really, really good for him at this point in his career. Obviously, they had a heck of a run down there in the stretch of the SEC and in the NCAA tournament after a rough start. This year, they've reloaded, and they have a heck of a basketball team. So again, I don't know what he has said publicly, but from an outsider's perspective, it looks like it's been a really good move for him. So if you wanted some Chris Jans comments on John Calipari, moving to Arkansas, even though he's been at Arkansas for quite a while now, there you go. He said he sees the rejuvenation of John Calipari at Arkansas.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people see it, and I think even Kentucky folks, whether they're happy he's gone or wish they still had him or whatever, see it too. So, and he said as much, and I think there's definitely something to that. Interesting coming from Chris Jans, who are our resident Kentucky fan, Cats by 90 or 21 or 47 or whoever it is. He informed us last night that John Calipari has never lost in Starkville. Because, John, I know we talked about Arkansas's record at the hump and everything, and we're like, good Lord, they haven't won there since 2015. What's going on here? Cal never lost at Mississippi State. So at least we got that going for us. And, I think this offers a little bit of perspective, too, because I know it's hard not to be a little bit down on this basketball team right now. I get it, but you still have to understand the context here, because like I saw one person in the comments that was like, hey, man, Arkansas is just mid. They're mid. No, Mississippi State is mid. All right. Arkansas is very good. They might not be where we want them to be, where we think they can be. And that might be a reflection of them not playing hard enough to get there, which is very frustrating. But they're in an okay spot, relatively speaking. You would much rather be a Razorback today than a Mississippi State Bulldog. I promise you.
Yeah, I think Jans's comments are pretty interesting, and it definitely goes in line with what we've heard from a few different people. I think that word rejuvenated or rejuvenation or whatever, we've heard that a few times in correlation to Cal. I think the easiest thing to do as a sports fan, and we all do it, is we look at a player, a coach, a team, or a program, or even like a sports franchise, and we just assume they're the same thing every single day. We just assume, hey, every year the Cleveland Browns are going to suck, and every year, Bama's going to be 10-2 in football or whatever. And honestly, with some of these institutions, it certainly feels like that. But we know that's not real life. Like, these guys are living different lives every day, and like there's fluctuation that happens. Now, when you have someone like John Calipari, who's very set in his ways and likes to do things a certain way and has kind of had a method of how he has his success, it's a little bit harder for him to get that real change. But I do think there is something to be said about Cal being who he is and never getting away from that. But also, just like anybody else, he's capable of learning some of these lessons. He's capable of, seeing how one thing works, seeing it's not working, and saying, hey, you know what? Let's try something different. I actually like what Cal said the other day whenever they asked him to give Mark Pope advice. And he was like, I'm not going to give Mark Pope advice. Like, I don't give other coaches advice. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to win. Like, we're all trying to do the same thing. I'm not going to sit here and tell someone how to do it. I still have to figure out how to do it, which I do think is the right mentality, right mindset. Now we'll just see if he's really about that action and if he's really going to implement any of these rejuvenated changes we're seeing into this current basketball team.
Well, rejuvenation is only going to come with the success and the winning that comes along with it, because losing is not fun and winning is fun. So you got to continue to win. But it's always fascinating to see in bracketology. And I know, Curtis, you sent this into our group text with the latest from old Joe Lunardi. I think that this would be pretty cool. Like if this happened where Arkansas was the 6th seed, because, some people are like, 6th seed, don't want that. Well, playing Miami in the first round in Oklahoma City, mind you, to where if Arkansas won that game, they'd play the winner of Nebraska, Portland State, and then they move on to possibly play Houston again, or maybe Texas A&M or St. Mary's. Probably not going to play Navy. But the point is, when this was sent out this morning, and this was Joe Lunardi's bracketology, I'm like, man, sign me up. I would love to have something like this.
Yeah, how about that? You lose, and so it winds up being a seed line bump type of loss for you. So automatically you're like, damn, man, down to a 6. They're trending the wrong direction. Then you see this draw, and you're like, oh, life's not so bad as a 6 seed, man. How about that? I saw a different projection yesterday that had Arkansas playing Miami of Ohio. No, I do not want to see that. No. This is the one time in the horse, the in like human mankind that you would prefer to play Miami of Florida as opposed to Miami of Ohio in a basketball game. I like this draw a lot for Arkansas. Nebraska, who hasn't won an NCAA tournament game in the history of their program. So if they beat Portland State, they'll be burning down Lincoln or wherever that school is. So I like the draw. Oklahoma City. Who knew that Arkansas would have to go down a seed line to start getting projected to be close to home for the NCAA tournament? I wouldn't be crazy about playing Houston again, but there are worse ideas out there. Like there are worse draws to get out there. So this is not a bad one compared to some others I've seen.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And I'm glad you mentioned that. Like, it's not that I think Arkansas is like better than Houston or that I'm even super confident that they would be able to get that game back. And of course, the first matchup certainly didn't go their way. But if you're going to have to play a 2 seed in the Sweet 16, I think getting a matchup with Houston, who we agree played like their best game of the year against Arkansas, the Hogs would be very motivated for that matchup. I think that's about as good of a 6-2 game you can have in the Sweet 16. I think the same for Nebraska, who I think is disrespected nationally. You know, when they started the year undefeated, everyone was kind of like doing the Vanderbilt thing with them of like, oh, it's not real. They're actually not that good. And then you lose to Michigan by like 3. And now everyone's kind of like, oh, yeah, see, they suck. I think Nebraska's good. But if you have to play a 3 seed, I think playing them in Oklahoma City is probably about as good as you're going to ask for. And so would Arkansas go to the Elite 8 with this draw? Would they go to the Final Four? I don't know. But I do think if you're just looking at certain paths for Arkansas, this one low-key isn't that bad.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're never going to get the way we want it and how we want it, but this would be something that I think Razorback fans would sign up for just because of the proximity, just because of the potential there, and just because of the fact that, you know, when it comes to NCAA tournaments, I know it's not always just about coaches, but, you know, I take John Calipari going up against most of the coaches that you'd be facing potentially in this whole stretch of how it could all go down. But either way, I mean, listen, this is just Joe Lunardi. It could all change, but it would be pretty nice just to have something in Oklahoma City and be so close to home if that actually did happen. So either way, but still a long time till bracketology really comes into fruition and as we get closer and closer as things go on. But I want to remind everybody that tomorrow we will be at Blue Ember Smokehouse in Rogers. We always like to go there because they have this thing called handcrafted barbecue that's really incredible. And if you haven't had Blue Ember, you need to check it out. And what better way to check it out than to come and hang out with us, as we'll be at the Rogers location there off Pleasant Grove Road, right there off exit. I believe it's actually exit 70. I should have had this written down. 76. There we go. 76 there off of I-49. And you'll be able to check it out and come hang out with us and get some great barbecue. Because not only do they have the Rogers location, they also have 6 different locations in the state of Arkansas. It could be Fort Smith, Jonesboro, Texarkana, Little Rock, Hot Springs, and Rogers. So if you're needing a place to get some great barbecue or even needing catered events, which is always going to be great, whether it's weddings, parties, business meetings, any gathering where a group of people can be fed some amazing barbecue, Blue Ember's going to have you covered. You just give a phone call over there to any of their 6 locations with their phone numbers listed right there on your screen. When you give them a call, you can set all that up and they'll take care of you from there. You can also visit their website at blueembersmokehouse.com. Again, Inside Arkansas Live, we'll be live there from tomorrow from 12 to 2. So be sure to come and check it out at the Rogers location. It's Blue Ember Smokehouse in Rogers. So, but yeah, guys, I was looking at that, and then I want to give a shout out. This is something I wanted y'all's thoughts and opinions on. Nobody's going to care about this, but Bobby Regan, I was texting him last night, and I'm curious what you guys think about the SEC teams and coaches that own other coaches in the SEC. Like, do you guys know what the record is between Cal and Rick Barnes by chance?
I'd imagine Cal's got a leg up.
Barely. If he does, right?
Right. So I was looking at it, and Cal is 11-12 against Rick Barnes.
Oh, shoot.
Wow.
Oh.
So thought that was interesting. Do you happen to know what Todd Golden's record is against Nate Oates?
Well, I know it's 1-0 this year.
5-1 is what Todd Golden's record is against that.
Impressive.
Another one, too, is Mark Pope. You know how many times he's lost to Tennessee?
Once.
Once in the NCAA tournament, eh?
Yes. Oh yes. Once
Not
zero
regular
regular
season,
season.
yeah.
Yeah. Once in the NCAA tournament. So the point is, the reason I brought it up is just because there's a lot of these elements where in the SEC, certain coaches just are better against other coaches, even though it doesn't necessarily always make sense. Now, obviously, the Cal and Barnes one is closer, but I've just always wondered when it comes to coaches having better record against other coaches, which high quality coaches, because like Nate Oates, if you think about the record that he's usually had in the SEC and everything, he's been pretty dominant. But to be 1-5 against one team and one coach, to me, it's like, is it about matchups? Is it about just coincidences? Is it about the style? Like what personality? What is it that maybe you guys would cater that towards as far as certain coaches having certain records or at least certain dominance over other coaches in the SEC?
Well, for John Calipari, for the longest, it was his ability to recruit superior talent compared to all of his peers there. So I think that gives him a leg up. But yeah, it's weird, man. There's a lot of things that go into it. It's the era of your program that you're living in, you know, to a degree. Like some programs are in better spots than others at certain times. But yeah, I think stylistically there's something to it. Like I remember, and Muss wound up winning his fair share of games, but Arkansas was always better and more talented than Texas A&M when he was here. But for whatever reason, Buzz Williams' teams would give Muss's teams hell, whoever he had on the roster. That was a stylistic thing. He even admitted as much to us, you know, off camera. So I think styles make fights in a lot of circumstances there. It's a little bit different now, though, because of the portal era where teams are completely different every single year. I think when you used to have guys who were in your program for 3 or 4 years at a time, you'd really get to know each other. That's a lot different than the complete roster flips that you see year in and year out. It's like, I look at Georgia, for example, and it's hard for me to pinpoint what might be going on there because Mike White's team this year and the way they play compared to how they played last year and how they look, two totally different things. You'd think they'd have a different coach. So it's hard, man. It's kind of hard to pin that stuff down.
Yeah, well, then, you know, sometimes you look at it and it's like Rick Barnes and Cal, because that's 23 games. That's a really legitimate sample size. I would love to like go to some of those specific games and like see like what was the context, like who was supposed to win. Because I think that's another big part of the equation. Like, for example, Dave Van Horn, Tony Vitello. We look at that record of Dave versus Tony and we're like, he owns them. Like he knows all these things. But you think about it, 2 of those series took place when Tony was first at Tennessee and they were at Fayetteville. And it was like a less talented Tennessee team playing a loaded Arkansas team. So they sweep them in bomb. They sweep them at bomb in the supers last year, which I guess you could say that wasn't supposed to happen, at least that dominantly. But it's like a lot of these, like it kind of makes sense where it's like, yeah, I mean, you're better than that team. You're playing them at home. You should beat them. And so if your record against a guy is a bunch of those contexts, then it kind of makes sense. But I do think that's interesting. And I feel like the sample size, once it gets bigger, it kind of works itself out. But yeah, the Rick Barnes Cal one is kind of blowing my mind because I'm assuming that goes back to like Texas days too, like Texas versus Memphis type of stuff.
I mean, I'd have to double check, but yeah, it's just the entirety of them facing off against each other of head coaches. So yeah, it could truly go back to that. But that's because that was the one where I was pretty fascinated by because I'm not that Rick Barnes is a bad coach at all, but you know he's always called regular season Rick because it's just how he's always been successful. Has been in the regular season, but to have that much success against Cal, it's like I don't remember Tennessee just had. I never felt like Tennessee when Cal was at Tennessee and Rick Barnes, or Cal was at Kentucky and Rick Barnes at Tennessee. I just never felt like, oh man, Rick Barnes is going to win this game every time. Like I never felt that way. But just knowing that Cal has a losing record against Rick Barnes, like sure. Like I don't know many coaches, guys, that Cal has a losing record against. Like truly, if you think about it. Like, how many coaches does he truly have a losing record against? I'm sure there's a way to look it up, but the fact that must really got to piss him off if he has a losing. Because I can understand Coach K, you know, like Roy Williams in their tenure, maybe even a Tom Izzo. I could maybe accept, but it's like Rick Barnes. You have a losing record against Rick Barnes. That's got to eat it, Cal. That's got to probably piss him off a lot. I would think.
Now that I'm thinking about it, it kind of makes sense because Rick Barnes' best stretch of his coaching career has been the last 6 years, you know, in terms of regular season success. And that's the worst stretch of Cal's career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like
fair.
Tennessee's golden age of basketball happened right as Cal was starting to dip off at Kentucky and then had a bad Arkansas team last year in the regular season. So, you know, I guess that's how you get that. I'm hungry the whole time. Ever since you've said it, I've just been sitting here thinking about every Cal Rick Barnes game. I'm like,
I know.
I've been like, yeah, that stat had me completely bamboozled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially given the circumstances of like, you know, there's been some games where it's like, again, Tennessee has been a tough out for anybody. And, luckily, or as Cal says, like, don't want to have to play them again. Arkansas got their one victory against Tennessee, so he doesn't want to have to play them again. But yeah, just certain teams are that way. And hopefully, the Todd Golden one over Nate Oates, I think, was more surprising to me than anything. Because listen, Todd Golden won a national championship, like great coach, but Nate Oates has been like, has Alabama been the most consistent program in the SEC over the past 5 years? Surely they have, right? Yeah. Kind of been like, I hate to use this example, kind of been like Dave Van Horn in Arkansas over the past 5 years in baseball. They've just been constantly there in it.
It's either them or Tennessee. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So like the fact that there was that much of a difference was there. But, you could use this for any sport too. You mentioned the baseball example, in football, it was always Nick Saban against any of his assistant coaches or former assistant coaches and how good they were. I remember the whole thing of like why Arkansas for stretch, not here recently, but like why they would always beat Ole Miss. Hugh Freeze in the golden age was always able to do things, but they never could beat Arkansas for some random reason. So there's just a lot of examples of it. I just never understood why. But anyways, I thought that was pretty fascinating to hear about SEC coaches and how is it just the styles? Is it the philosophies? Is it the talent? Or all the above? Could be all the above. So, but we'll continue the discussion here on the show, but want to remind everybody that OZK Insurance is our official insurance company here at Inside Arkansas. And what sets OZK Insurance apart is simply this. They're an independent insurance agency. That means they're not just tied to one company. They shop a multitude of A-rated carriers to find the best coverage and price for you. And now that they've paired that with something that you don't usually see from an independent agency, it's a full-service mobile app. With the OZK Insurance app, you can see all of your policies under one roof. Home, auto, whatever you have, just plus you could pay the bills, request roadside assistance, file claims, request policy changes, or even get new quotes all from your phone. So get the best part of the independent agency, which is choice, flexibility, and real people, but then you also get the convenience of modern tech. So if you're being tired of stuck with one carrier chasing down paperwork, go to ozkinsurance.com or search OZK Insurance in the App Store or in Google Play. It's a local agency, national level options, one powerful app. That's OZK Insurance. And a few other things, guys, that I know we'll get into the chats and have some discussions there. Do you guys know what this whole thing that Razorback football is doing at all? I saw somebody in the chat asking about it. I kept watching these videos. It seems cool, but do you guys know what it is?
No clue. All? No idea what the hell it is.
I don't know what it is, but I do like it.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to play a few things so people, in case you haven't seen it. So Razorback football, which I'm not going to say they've been just MIA and silent, but they're very. It's not their time right now. It's they don't tweet out a whole lot of things, but they've been tweeting out a few things that has just been really fascinating to me. And I kept thinking if there was something that was going to transpire from it, or if it was going to mean something. But it's this deal called War on the Hill. And it's about this official offseason competition, and a roster has been put in. Anyways, here's the video of them doing like a pick, like it was a draft, and it just kind of goes insane here.
With the first overall pick in the 2026 War on the Hill, Rack City selects Sutton Smith. Home Team 6 selects Jamari Hawkins. Watch Greatness picks Donovan Papel. The Silverbacks, they select KJ Jackson.
Hey, Silverback till I die. Try to win all of it. Work till we die. Ready to work. See, brother. Do it. All Team 6. Coach, I get you on my team, too.
So, what is it?
So, okay, are we actually pretending like we don't know what's happening here?
What is it?
I can't tell if we're doing a bit. So this is like they're doing an off-season workout program. I don't know the details of the competition and how points are assigned, but it's like,
so you don't know what's happening,
huh?
So you don't know what's happening.
Well, no, but I'm saying like we at least understand the premise that like they're doing like an off-season or a spring workout situation. You're splitting it up into teams. They're going to do competitions. I would imagine whoever has the best broad jump, you get points for your team. We're going to do a weight competition here, and So they split it up. Like, I feel like every sports program does some form of this, not necessarily a draft, but like some type of off-season workout program where, you know, you make the guys compete against one another. You know what I mean? Am I making any sense here?
Well, here's the thing is like, I agree that I think that it's one of those things. I guess it's just from my perspective, when you have a new coach in and you have like a new program and everything, and when you put out something like this, there's just was no real like explanation to people like me who likes to see like things of like, what is this? Is saying like, hey, it is a spring competition where everybody gets together. It has a video of Chad Lunsford who's in there being like, this is what we're going to do. And I guess it was just really like when you put it out there, kind of getting everybody ready and you have this video, it's like, okay, but like what, because it seems exciting. It seems cool. But Buzz, like, what is it though? Like, what is it something that we get to watch? Is it something that we get to check out? Is it something that we're going to have, like updates on all the time? Or is it just something to get people hyped? That's my thing, is it was just trying to figure out specifically of like what it is going to be, because it looks like it's a pretty exciting thing.
Well, you can't do that. Like that whole intro, that whole tease, and not give us something else. Like they got to at least do like a video a week or something with, because you're right. You know, you're right. Like that's what they're doing. So they're splitting the team, and it's going to be a competition that's going to fuel their competitiveness in their offseason workouts. How they're going to measure that, and award points and stuff, we don't know. But like we got to see some of that competition. Give us a 1 to 1.5 minute video every week, and let us see these guys getting after it and stuff. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, we've got to have an explainer here. We have to, because I want to keep up with this. And Andrew, you're 100% right about most college programs do this kind of stuff in the off season. And Arkansas did something like this last year, because I remember them talking about how Mike Washington won everything, but we didn't hear about it. And they didn't do a good job putting on social media and building interest. Remember how we spent the entire offseason being like, are they going to have a football season? Because nobody's talking about it. What's going on here? Well, thank God they're doing that now. So at least they're drumming up the interest here. I love it.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely on that page where like, I hope we get to see more of this. I hope this isn't just the last thing we hear and they're like, all right, yeah, we post that video and then like, we'll see you in the fall. So I don't know what their plans are specifically for letting us. I'm sure we're not going to be able to like live stream all the workouts or anything like that. But I imagine there will be some type of, hey, here's the guy who won this award, and oh, hey, 5 points go to Hog Team 6 or whatever. I like that. I think that would be cool. But yeah, I'm all for drumming up interest, drumming up excitement, because this is cool. This does make you excited, and you get to kind of see, you know, and it's very easy to, you know, cheer whenever your teammate gets picked or whatever. But it's like, I like seeing stuff like this. And so, yeah, I hope we get more of it. I have no complaints or qualms about this. I thought this was really cool, frankly.
It's cool, man. Does I don't know if either of you would have any idea about this. Does Ryan Silverfield do a spring game? Since that's a controversial thing nowadays. Because I just saw somebody in the chat, and this is a good point. Like, it was Evan. He says, now that there's no spring portal, I hope they're more willing to share info about guys who are emerging. Because we had to hear that from Travis Williams. He's like, I can't tell you because they're going to tamper from our historically terrible defense. You know, so it's like, that's not there. So why wouldn't you have a spring game, you know, televise it, everything like that? I hope they do, man. The more that we're able to see these guys, see Silverfield, just feel like you're connected to the program, the better. And I hope they do it. I hope they open up spring practice the way that Pittman's crew did, because the real access was in the spring. And then, yeah, man, let us get out there for a spring game and get after it. You can't do competition through February and March and then not have a competition at the end of spring football practice. Just my thought.
Yeah, no, I think that there will be a spring game. I think that if I was we've talked about it, but if there's any point of advice to give Silverfield and the entire football program, is just all the access you can give, not go over the top and say like, hey, here's our playbook, but like, you know, do anything and everything you possibly can to get out there, because no one gives a rip about you. I'm just being honest. Like here in the state of Arkansas, they do. But you know what is one coach, guys, and one program that across the SEC footprint right now doing shows like ours right now, doing radio shows, doing, you know, written articles. You know what's the one SEC team they are not talking about in any regard is Arkansas. They're not. And it's just the fact of the matter. So what's the best way you can do that and get people to pay attention, get people to see the cool elements of your program, to be excited about it, is go above and beyond and being totally open. I would do 2 spring games, you know, do 2 of them. Like have all you can possibly get, and not even hold back from it. So I'm hoping that this is something to where, once we get to that point, because I have no idea when even spring practice begins for Arkansas, because we know it's always different. But whenever it does happen, open it up, be open, transparent, make it work, all the above.
Dude, when they were opening the scrimmages, the Saturday scrimmages in the spring last year, that was awesome. I love going out there for that. Let's see more of that. But you're right, man. Like, and nobody's talking about Arkansas, and that's fair. Like they're gonna kind of have to earn that. Although I will say it's interesting to me that I mean, we all witnessed the Arkansas coaching search and everything, but then like Auburn had theirs. I feel like, Kiffin aside, that Stein over at Kentucky is getting more buzz than anybody else. I guess they've got a good portal hall and stuff, but every time I look up, I'm seeing, Feinbaum or whoever they're just all over what Stein is doing there. And I'm like, I did not think he would get as much buzz as Silverfield, Arkansas, much less Golesh or Golding at Ole Miss or anything, but they can't get enough of that dude. So I don't know. It's interesting.
I also think this is a very important aspect of trying to get your fan base emotionally attached to the program, but also the individual pieces within it. Like, think about someone like Billy Richmond. Think about the way we feel about Billy Richmond right now and like how connected we are, and we feel like he's one of us. We don't have any questions about how much it means to him to play for Arkansas, and he leaves it all out there. And now he's like our guy. When Billy Richmond first committed to Arkansas, he was a guy that was coming over with Cal. It's like, oh, hey, one of these talented freshmen that's coming over with Cal. And then somewhere along the line, he became our guy. He became a Hog. He became a true guy that we love and care about. And for some guys, it happens quicker than others. But like, I think if you're the football team and football program, you shouldn't want the fan base to wait until Sutton Smith scores a touchdown to care about Sutton Smith. But now that Sutton Smith's the number 1 overall pick in this draft, it's like, whoa, it's like, this is a big deal. But in seriousness, I do think that like videos like this give us a little bit of an insight into like the culture, the personalities, like who some of the important players on the team are, like who the guys like, who the guys rally around, who the guys respect. And I mean, similar, like you said, the Mike Washington example, we were able to know going into the season, hey, they got something with Mike Washington, not because he won the offseason workouts, but that's when he earned the respect of his coaches and teammates, which is when his coaches and teammates went out on a record and were like, hey, Mike Washington's that dude. And so by the time the season got around, we already kind of felt like Mike Washington was one of our guys. Now that's a 2-10 football player example, but like, I think if you're the football program now, like it's very important to get your fan base behind these dudes, make them feel like they're one of you. And so that, you don't have to wait until they score a touchdown against Alabama A&M to care about their journey.
Right. Yeah. And I think that also it's a great introduction to so many of these new players too, that, like you said, that you have no idea about. And by the way, there's 6 different teams. They all have names, guys, which I want to ask you which team.
Names real quick.
Yeah, let's power rank the names. I would bring it up in a graphic, but there's just too many of it. So there's Rack City, which is headed up by CJ Brown and Quincy Rhodes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. And like, great song by Tyga back
Squat
in the day.
rack. Okay, sure.
But all right, come on.
Yeah. There's Hog Team 6.
I
like Hog Team 6.
Which is linebacker Bradley Shaw and Jaden Platt, who are heading that up. Hog Warriors, which is by Bryant Williams and Christian Harrison, 2 new additions. You have Watch Greatness. And then with tight end Matt Adcock and defensive back Carter Stoutmeyer, which is just so funny because I'm like, I just know these guys randomly, and here they are in Razorback jerseys. And then WTWD, which stands for Work Till We Die, which is
not the worst one, honestly. I like Hog Team 6. I think that's probably the best one.
I do too. Work Till We Die might be my second favorite.
Yeah, it's headed by
Rack City might be 3.
Rack City's higher than I thought.
Yeah, Braylon Russell and David Oakey hit that one up, and then the final one is Silverbacks,
not bad.
which is just a gorilla. But
that's perfect. The gorilla logo being like, "Hey, we're Silverbacks." That's actually pretty cool.
I'll go Hog Team 6, then Silverbacks, then Work Till We Die,
and then Rack City.
Or maybe Rack City. I might flip those, but yeah.
I like the acronym works for me.
Okay, yeah.
WTWD.
So basically, we're all in agreement that Hog Warriors sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hog
it's-
warrior.
it gotta be
That's
better.
one of those like
That's a cop out, man.
that's a Chat GPT name.
Yeah. Yes. That's one that you just asked Siri what, sorry if it starts throwing off everybody, but yeah, you start asking them about, hey, what's a good name for this? They're like hog warriors. It's like, all right, great. And it's even like the logo. And again, I should have just brought them all up, but like I said, it was going to take a bit, but it's just like the, how do you call it? Like an armored face, like Trojan or not, like trying to think of what, like a medieval, like armor helmet that they're wearing with spears. I'm like, well, it has nothing to do with anything. Like just other than all that. But either way, they all got their teams all put together. So we'll see. I'm sure there'll be something there. We'll see how it goes.
Dave Van Horn, my guy, was talking about this literally yesterday at the Swatters Club of like, I know we kind of overlook stuff like this, but like in the off season, when you're doing crap like this, like that is really genuinely when your team chemistry, like that's when your guys find out if they like one another. And I'm sure there's some teams that come out of, off season workouts and, maybe they like each other a little bit, but they're not really like bros yet. They're not really brothers. But I think this is a good way to get some of that competitive spirit out of these dudes. And then also I think it's very important for these guys to look around and see like who's taking it seriously, who's going all out, and like who do you want in your corner in the line of fire. Like I really am all in on this kind of stuff. And everyone does some version of it, but I think this is a cool way to do it. And I hope the players like you kind of suspend disbelief and like go all in and like make it a thing. And there should be some type of like real reward for winning. Like it shouldn't just be like, hey, your team won, so you get a Chick-fil-A meal.
Yeah. Well, I kind of like this from Jubesby, but he says they could have been war pigs. What a shame. Yeah, they missed out on that one. War on the Hill, war pigs. Could have been that, but instead, you're playing games and all of that. So, but I tell you what, we'll go kind of shifting back to the basketball side of things. But I did want to bring up our Alumni Hall question of the day, presented by Alumni Hall, which is the ultimate Razorback shopping experience, as we all know. And if you want to get some of the best Razorback apparel, they have it. They have it to where it can be delivered straight to your door if you order online, or you can visit them in store. Doesn't matter which or how it is. You can be able to check it out for yourself. Is because they not only have all the high-end gear for men, women, and kids, but they also have basketball and baseball merch coming in with baseball season starting up this month. The baseball gear starting to come. They got plenty of the baseball jerseys. And if you like it doesn't matter if you like the whites, the stripes, if you like the reds, if you like the creams, you like the grays, they have it all. They got the baseball caps there too. And then, it's just all about it. So they're completely stocked. So you got to check them out. They're at their location at 3417 North College Avenue. You can also shop them online at InsideArkansas.com/alumni hall. That's InsideArkansas.com/alumni hall. It's Alumni Hall, the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. And so, guys, out of curiosity for the basketball side of things, again, having the poll question from today, simply with Arkansas having 9 games left in the SEC slate, how many of these games does Arkansas win? 8-9, 6-7, shut up, 4-5, or 3 or less? And leading the way right now, 6-7 at 64%. Do you agree with that?
I guess so. Because if the option was 5 or 6, that's what I would have picked. So I'll go on the optimistic side there. But yeah, I think they're either going 5-4 or 6-3 the rest of the way here. I'll go with this. I cannot believe we did the 6-7 thing, but yeah,
that was
it's okay.
That's John being a little merry prankster over there.
Let's
count the losses real quick. At Florida, L. At Bama, L.
Probably, but
you can't go into
they've got bigger issues than Arkansas does. But yeah,
sure.
Probably.
Yeah. Auburn at home, is that probably your most likely next L?
Auburn beat you by 150 already.
Sure.
So yes, and we know Arkansas is vulnerable at Bud Walton Arena now. Texas A&M has won multiple road games in this conference, and they play a style that could have Arkansas looking like they've never played basketball before. Yeah. So I don't think that one's off the table.
So let's say they split Auburn and A&M at home.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah, and then lose the 2 roads. That would be
6-3.
Yeah.
Is there any other game that like they could lose a lot of them, but like what other game would they like maybe be not favored in?
Not favored in?
Yeah.
None, I don't think. But like, would I be surprised if they went and lost at Missouri? No. Would I be surprised? Would I be surprised if Texas popped them? No. Because they've done that already on the road. So Would I be surprised if they lost one of these 2 road games coming up? Not necessarily. I don't think that they will, but nothing would really surprise me with this team. But I think that's kind of where I'm at. One that's going to really piss us off at home, whether that's Auburn or A&M, and then probably those 2 road games. And then you just got to kind of take care of business, I think, outside of that.
Yeah, I think I'm with you in that 5 or 6 is probably like where, you know what I mean? Like that would probably be about right. Cause I could see 5 and 4, but I don't know.
If they have a losing record in the final 9 games, then it's an abject failure. Like if they go failure,
if they went 4 and 5, that would make them 10 and 8 in SEC play. You're probably looking at an 8 seed right there, 7 or 8 seed.
Mm-hmm. Probably so. And so
that would be very underwhelming. I will admit that would like leave a weird taste in my mouth. They would pretty much have to go to the Elite 8 to make me not mad.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing is like, because if you think about it, if you had 5 losses, like at least 1 or 2 of those are going to come against teams that you should not lose to in theory. I mean, it's like you're going to have those games every time, but there's that includes a Missouri loss or one of these losses this weekend or this next 2 games or whatever it is. It would not be pretty. I don't want to go 10 and 8. I don't want to do that. I want to have a well over 500 record in the SEC because as we talked about, this was the SEC that you could take your step forward and be better for it and make it happen and be really good in the SEC I want Arkansas to have a few buys in the SEC tournament. Like I don't want them to play on Wednesday or Thursday. Give me Friday. I think that's where Arkansas should play is Friday. I know it's asking a lot, but anything less than that, I'll just be, I'm already going to be nervous going into the NCAA tournament as it is, but I'll be really like, ugh. It's just, if they get to that point, it just won't be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you.
I would not be like jumping for joy if Arkansas finished 12 and 6 in SEC play, but I'd give them a good golf clap, just kind of, hey,
yeah,
respectable.
Mm-hmm.
I would feel like that. Yeah. Acceptable is a good word.
Yeah.
Above that, and you're like, damn, that's a hell of a year there in the SEC. Sure. Below that, and you're like, man, they left some meat on the bone. But yeah, 12 and 6 feels like that sweet spot where you go, all right, not a conference championship team, but to your point there, that's probably good enough to get you off until Friday in Nashville, and I could live with that.
5 seed in the NCAA tournament, roughly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you're 12 and 6, you're probably 4 or 5 seed. You're on that line.
Yeah. If they go 12 and 6, 11 and 7, they're going to be probably a 5.
That's something we need to think about, by the way. Do you want to be the 5 or the 6? Because we just looked at a projection where Arkansas is a 6 seed, and you're kind of like, hey, that 3 and 2, not that crazy. If you're a 5 seed, you got to play a 1 seed in the Sweet 16, which in college basketball this year, the difference between a 1 seed and a 3 seed is like a huge, huge deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also, I was looking at it. If they got to that 12 and 6 mark, that would only be the 5th time, I think, if I'm not looking at this correctly. Yeah, the 5th time. And so you'd basically be half of your seasons in the SEC were 10-win seasons. If you got to another like double-digit one, because Mike Anderson went 12 and 6 in 2017, 10 and 8 the next year. And then, of course, Muss had those 2 13-wins seasons in the SEC back-to-back. And then that would be it. So, you haven't had a whole lot of that type of success as far as the SEC goes. But sign me up for 12 and 6. It's not going to be anything bad. It's just I feel like that should be the minimum for me. That's how I'd feel good.
Yeah, Arkansas they're fully capable of winning any and all of those games. They're just I just don't know how you can trust them right now, man. It's like my hope is that after this bye week, and I said this, I guess it was last night on the SEC show, but that they just show a little bit more resolve. You just want to be able to tell that they've made a concerted effort to fix some things over the course of this week off here with their energy coming out of the gates and some different stuff. Like you need to handle your business on the road here against 2 teams that stink. They just do, man. It is what it is. But I will start believing that this team can do something pretty cool again. Not if they do that, but if they kick Auburn's ass. Like if you return the favor at Bud Walton Arena. But I got to be honest with you, right now, if I think about how that game's going to go, I close my eyes and I'm like, all right, Valentine's Day, revenge game. Are you seeing the red for the hearts and the love in the air, or is it blood that you're thirsty for some revenge? I just have a feeling Arkansas will come out, Keyshawn Hall will go for 35, and they'll be down double digits in the first half. We're just like, how are they not ready to play in this game? Oh, they never are. They need to prove me wrong from that standpoint before I start feeling it again. I got to be honest.
Well, and those LSU and Auburn games are so pivotal because it gives you a very clear opportunity to, now Auburn's at home versus being on the road or whatever, but it's like it gives you an opportunity to have a result. And even if Arkansas beats Auburn by 1, you could then as a fan talk yourself into, hey, we played them early in the year and we weren't ready. We played them later in the year, now we are. So you can say, okay, we're trending in a positive direction. You played like crap against LSU at home. You beat them by a better margin on the road. You can really start playing that game. But I'm with you in that I am a little bit worried that we're going to find out, hey, this team hasn't quite made as much progress as we maybe thought. And to be fair, against Auburn, they're going to have to make a lot of progress to make up. But we see this happen home road all the time in college basketball. You can literally lose by 30 to someone on the road and then beat them by 15 at home. Like that kind of crap does happen.
I think that happened with Florida and Tennessee last year. And they beat each other by 20 plus points or whatever in their own building. And
I think what was it? Tennessee beat Florida. I think it was something disgusting. It was like 60-40 or something dumb like that. Yeah. So just random crap like that can happen for sure. So, but let's go ahead and get to your chats, folks. I want to remind everybody that Hickey and Hole Law is the official law firm of us here at Inside Arkansas, because if you ever need any sort of law advice, legal advice on anything, you got to do it with Hickey and Hole Law, because they handle all different types of cases, whether it's divorce and custody cases, criminal cases, civil litigation cases, personal injury, or estate planning. You can have their help because they're going to walk you through each and every step of the way. They're going to be detail oriented to make sure that there's no missteps, that there's nothing that goes across, where you're represented the right way and getting all the things that you need to make it a successful case for you. They provide that honest, principled advice and representation, and they understand how crucial it is to each one of their clients to keep them updated on their cases, as they're always going to be in communication with you. Doesn't matter if it's via text, via email, via phone calls, whatever it is, they're going to stay in touch with you each and every step of the way. So Hickey and Hole Law offices have offices across the entire state of Arkansas, whether it's in Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Little Rock, or Mena. And you can call them today at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. Or you can check out their website at hickeyandhole.com. Scan that QR code right there on your screen. It's Hickey and Hole Law. Things are about to get better. All right, so getting into some of your chats, folks. Appreciate everybody tuning in. As we all know, Super Chats get read first. Those are just the rules. Shout out to Bo. Super Chat says, it's my 20th birthday today. Get to see Gackle throw a 27 strikeout no-hitter next Friday. Happy birthday. Cool. Yeah. Happy birthday, man. And it's amazing that next Friday is like Razorback baseball in Arlington. Like that happens next Friday. So
it does. It'll help this weekend because they're going to actually scrimmage outside, and so people will remember that we do have a team. But we're slowly but surely building up the hype train. We got to be a little bit quiet because we got a lot of haters that like to point out that Arkansas has not won a national championship. So you can't even really share excitement without people being like, yeah, but. So I'm just kind of keeping quiet right now, low key.
Fair enough. I'm not going to read yours, Ozzy. I'm sorry, man. I know we appreciate the super chat, but I'm just not going to go down that road right now. But appreciate you watching in. Let's see, David, after being a member for 9 months, appreciate you, David. That's pretty awesome. He says rivalry name is the Golden Oats Douche-Off.
I like that.
He's talking about from Todd Golden and Nate Oates. I don't have a problem with Todd Golden, though. I don't think. Should I have a problem with Todd Golden? Should I find him a douchebag?
You're not a co-ed, so no.
I guess that is that true.
I was about to say, check your Instagram DMs if you aren't sure. But no, I actually also don't. I made fun of Todd Golden a little bit last year, but then he won a national title. So what am I going to do?
I
don't have much of a problem with him, but I can talk myself into hating anyone. And when you're in a conversation with Nate Oates, he's definitely not the heel in that matchup.
Mm-hmm. No, he's not. He's not. See, Omri, appreciate you, Omri, says Banks Ryan Hodges being born hopefully here in the next hour. Just letting y'all know the name so it's familiar to you when said at Bud Walton Arena after three-pointer. Okay, I get what you're saying. Okay,
that's awesome.
Like Banks is going to grow up and be knocking down threes at Bud Walton.
So you're tapped in now, like in the delivery room. Wifey's okay with that, or we?
Omri's our boy. She probably understands it, man. Omri's our boy, man. We literally saw him mere days ago, right? Wasn't he at Go Lab?
He was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like, This is there are no off days when it comes to Inside Arkansas. But seriously, man, we're psyched for you. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to have a guy hitting shots out there and his name's Banks, he's going to have to like bank it in, right? You're going to have
Banks
some banked in
open.
shots.
You can't do the Banks not open bit with him. It's always open.
Yeah. Because then it'll be every single commentator will have to bring up that name, and they're just begging. Every commentator's begging for him to bank in a shot just so they can make some sort of reference to it. That'll for sure happen. Let's see some other chats here too. Let's see. Well, Bama Hog, we already talked about what the war on the hill is, which I was I will admit, like the war on the hill when I first saw, I was like, is this going to be like when the freaks come out type of thing? Is that what this is going to be?
So unfortunately, it is that.
Yeah.
That's pretty much exactly what it is. But we agree this is a cooler version of that.
Yeah, because it seems like it's like you got a draft and you got teams and you got going up against. It seemed like when the freaks come out was just like, hey, we're gonna push out this sled for squats in the middle of the field at night. It's like, you could those weights don't go up in weight when you go out on the field. You could just still do it in the weight room, but at least this has some camaraderie and some team aspects to it. So yeah, I'm for it. Let's see. Trey says, Curtis, what is your thoughts on Arkansas going small and playing TB at the 5 A-Cuff League? Knox, Billy, and TB.
Listen to the show tomorrow morning, and you'll get a lot of thoughts on that. I think it's exactly what they need to do. I think TB should play small ball 5, and Pringle should play none for now. And that opens you up to be able to play Carter and Billy together more, which is something that Cal said he wants to do. But I mean, listen, if all you're being asked to do is run hard and rebound to get playing time, and you can't even do that, something's got to give here. So, I mean, I don't know. He's averaging 20 minutes a game or something. Cut it in half and let TB take some of those. We can talk all we want to about him being not a 5 and, not strong enough or whatever, but I know for a fact he would be more productive in that position. And I do agree with, some of the thought process out there about, well, Billy should play more, but Carter shouldn't play less. And I agree. And the solution to that is being able to play them together a little bit more. And that's a way to do it. So I don't think that's a bad move at all for Arkansas. There's going to be some matchups where you can't do it, though. Like Tennessee, for example, when Trevin had to play 40 minutes, like if you're going to play Carter at the 4, it's got to be the right type of matchup. But when you can, I think they should a little bit for sure.
What helps is that Carter is one of the better rebounders on the team per minute. And Trevin is also the best rebounder on the team per minute. And not that those guys are going to be like this just awesome front court together or whatever, but it's like, I don't view it as like, oh, you're sacrificing a ton of toughness, physicality, and rebounding to put in Carter Knox at the 4. He's been better at rebounding than Pringle, frankly. And so it's like, and I of course, everyone's going to do the thing of like, oh, well, how are you going to defend 2 bigs? How is a team that has 2 bigs on the floor going to defend that lineup?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Also, Shane says, I'll be in Stark Vegas this weekend watching the game. Any ideas where to eat?
Wendy's?
Say, like,
Stark you got Vegas, like as in Starkville?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a dive bar that I don't know the name of, but they sell pizza and they have pool tables, and it is like the divest of all dives. I loved it. I could have spent 4 days in a row there. I'm gonna reach out to my Starkville guy and try and figure this out, Shane. There's a really good dive. Just Google dive bars that serve pizza in Starkville. It can't be that many of them, I would imagine. But whatever the name of it is, you got to find it.
Yeah, the only one I remember hearing about was Staggerin', is what it was called. Staggerin' Sports Bar. That's in Starkville. But that's about all I got for you as far as that goes. So I'm sure they got a few places you can check out, a few places you can dine.
Real nice Applebee's there in Starkville.
Yeah,
first class.
They got some of the chain places at least as well too. So let's see. Heartbroken Hog also says, honestly, I won't change my opinion of this team till I see them play Auburn. These next 2 games are you better not lose games, in my opinion.
Sure.
Which is true.
Take care of business. I mean, they could change my opinion if they lose one of them. Yeah. I'll tell you that, man. But as far as feeling like they've finally turned a corner or something, I get the next 3 and then I'll start feeling a lot better about it. Outside of that, I think we'll get more of the same, which for the love of God, some of y'all are miserable, man. But like it's it's still not that bad. Like they're going to win games. They're going to have some other wins that I'm sure some of you won't expect to happen because they've had several of those this year where they've showed up and beaten some really good basketball teams. But then they'll have some more like Saturday, man, where there's just like, these are two completely different teams out there. That's what happens when you're inconsistent.
Hey, normalize not changing your big picture opinion of a team based on the result of a game you just watched. Normalize it.
Good luck with that. Let's see. Ryan says our front court play really looks bad considering all the guys we were chasing and missed on in the portal itself.
Oh, Ryan. Okay, yeah, our portal insider. Tell me who all those guys were.
List them out. Power ranking.
Axel. Why couldn't
Didn't
we
pursue.
go get
Quaintance
Yaxel?
didn't pursue. The only one they were in on was Morez Johnson, and Michigan offered twice the bag. So they got him. That's one.
Well,
Yeah.
it gets it
I'm
up.
trying to think. Does Flory count?
No.
What's he doing, by the way? Is he doing anything at Kansas?
He's back at Kansas where he was always going to be.
Yeah.
Come on, Ryan. I'm waiting.
So he's probably got to do some Google searching real quick, see what he can figure out. Let's see. Also, Cody just says this team is extremely mid. We just happen to have a lottery pick at point guard. So yeah, I disagree with that.
So one, I think there's a lot of we say mid, which accounts for like teams 20 through 60 in college basketball. I think they're definitely not mid. Like they're a little bit above that. But I also I'm okay with Arkansas being where they are because of the best player on their team. You know what I mean? Like I think it's always a little bit weird when we do the thing where like, yeah, we'll take away this guy and we would be worse. It's like, well, yeah, no shit. It's like
One of the top 10 players in the country.
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, if you take Corliss off the 94 team, they probably only go to like the Sweet 16.
Right. Arkansas didn't pursue Malik Renew. Next, keep going.
Said he's going to take him a little bit to get the Google searches on. So.
Oh, okay. I thought you were reporting. My bad. Yeah, well, go ask those reporters about that because you didn't get those reports from here.
You know what's funny about this? Because I actually remember living in these moments when all this was happening. You know who one of the top big men that every Hog fan wanted out of the portal was? Nick Pringle. And when I say every Hog fan, I mean fans that are like tapped in and watching basketball. The day that Nick Pringle announced his commitment to Arkansas, 0 people, and I do mean 0, were like, wow, why'd they get this guy? Oh my God, this is horrible. And people were like, oh wow, that's a really solid off the bench, 7th, 8th guy. Like that'll be a really, he'll play a role. That'll be fine. We all felt that way. He turned out to suck, which is unfortunate. But like, we don't have to go back in time and be like, wow, this was this crazy premise that they went out there and got Malik Ewan and Nick Pringle. I
got drug on my podcast and this show all summer for advising people against trying to make Pringle something that he wasn't.
Yeah.
Valuable for what he is, but there are folks out there who are trying to make him something that he wasn't. And he hasn't even met those expectations so far.
Yeah. In fact, I mean, of all the 18 years that he's played in the SEC or whatever, I think it's probably the argument that you could say this has been his least impressive season as a basketball player in the SEC. So hasn't been really getting it done on that way. A few more here because I know we get to our heavy hitters as well. But Hickory Hogs just says, John, if Bobby Regan isn't your dumbest friend, then you really need new friends. I mean, Bob, I like Bobby. I know he's got a role to play, but appreciate it. He knows how to get after and under people's skin pretty easily.
I low-key think John might have stupider friends.
Yeah, I trust me.
Me included, low-key.
There are some of them that are out there. Believe me. Let's see. Also, here comes Katz. He says, I still can't believe y'all let a below average coach with a crippled roster down 3 starters come in there and put straight BTA.
How can you not believe it when this shit happened to y'all last year?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Stuff happens, man. Y'all lost to Missouri at home. Florida lost to Auburn at home. These kind of things happen, you guys are the ones calling it an upset. Upset. Every time y'all say that, you're acknowledging that Arkansas is better than you. Have you ever thought about that? Colin Chandler, they were asked about what the win for Arkansas does for them, and he said, well, it proves to us and shows everyone we can play at that level. That level meaning a level above where you're at. So, yes, you got the upset victory. You get the bragging rights, but according to your own people, there's still levels to this. So, I don't know.
We're doing like the opposite of kind of like a modified version of the overrated chant where it's like Yeah, this win we got on Saturday that turned our season around, it actually sucked because you guys aren't good. You know what I mean? It's like, is that really what you want to do?
Yeah. Also, let's see. Maggie says that you never know what you're going to get at the end of the regular season. Mizzou could be fighting for a tourney spot like Arkansas was in their final matchup last year. All bets are off in those games.
That's honestly a really good point. I went through the schedule. I can't remember if it was this morning, or I guess it was yesterday morning, kind of game by game. And that feels like a coin flip to me a little bit on the road based on where Missouri's at. Because they've got a tough schedule. They could be like out of the discussion altogether. And then, I don't know, Arkansas should be able to go over there and handle their business. But if they're living life on the bubble and that's like a last regular season game, quad one opportunity, I think it'll be easy to go over there and win.
Going along the lines of, an individual result doesn't necessarily mean anything sometimes. Florida literally lost at Como. And, it didn't mean anything for Florida. It didn't mean that they had this like huge road issue where that there's these huge red flags with Florida. It also didn't mean that Missouri was good. Sometimes shit happens. And I know that's a cop out, but it's like, I don't know. I think sometimes you do have to look at individual results, especially when you go by and be like, oh yeah, that was a little bit weird. And so I think Hog fans would be stupid to think that that couldn't happen in Como to end the regular season. That'd be pretty cool if Missouri started and ended SEC play with a win over Florida and a win over Arkansas, and then just a whole lot of mid in between.
Yeah, that would be frustrating. And that would, again, not change my mind about going into postseason, how things would feel at that point in time, too. So, all right, so we'll get to more of your chats, folks. Let's go ahead and get into our heavy hitters here on the show, presented by HD Roofing and Construction, because we know that storms can always hit at the most unexpected times here in the state of Arkansas. You never know when it's going to happen. You never know how it's going to happen. We just dealt with a lot of snow and a lot of ice here recently, and it was something that you could do forecasting on, but you can't do a forecast on it if you don't know how good a shape your roof is in. Well, let HD Roofing and Construction give you that peace of mind with a free inspection where they can come out to your place, check out your roof, and say, hey, you need to replace this right away, or hey, you need to repair this right away, or hey, you're good to go. You don't need to have anything done because your roof is good to go. So when you choose HD Roofing, you can rely on that professionalism, top quality materials, and expert installation for all of your roofing needs. You can also call their Northwest Arkansas office because they have two different offices in Northwest Arkansas as well as Central Arkansas. Northwest Arkansas office at 479-957-1928. Also, their Central Arkansas office at 501-428-0429. And you can also check out their website, hdarkansas.com, for more info. It's HD Roofing and Construction, who is officially our sponsor of our heavy hitters here on Inside Arkansas. So for the heavy hitters, and Andrew, I was going to ask you first, were you going to do the thing that you tweeted about for yours before I move? Because I was going to use that, but if you're using it, I got a different one that I can go with.
You know me, John. I've always got backup heavy hitters. I was prepared, but then whenever we started the show, I saw these in the studio, and so I was like, okay, we're bringing them up another time. I'll have a backup heavy hitter. So no, you got the runway. Do this.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate the fact that this is because it's all about the video game side of stuff and whatnot. That apparently you're going to have your Razorback baseball team on MLB The Show 26 for all of this, and then this is the way to where, I think last year, I think it was 8 teams that they used last year on the video game, and they didn't always have, Arkansas in there, and people were like, why is Arkansas not in there? Well, look at that. You got a hat. You even got, look at this, exposure. You get 5 stars. That's a 5-star program for exposure on baseball. That's what Dave Van Horn does you, according to MLB The Show. Skill development's only at a 4-star. I think that's crap. I think you need to, kind of work on that. But either way, you get the one-time reward package and purchase and everything. But then, you got this going on with the jerseys looking good, the actual hats out there. I'm just going to go ahead and assume. I'm not going to assume who those players are. But I was trying to think. I was like, who could we name them? I was like, maybe that's, is that Kendall Diggs over there with, Zach Root? I don't know. But either way, they're going to be a part of it. And the amateur experience continues on. So it's glad to see the Razorbacks getting there. I'm glad they're using the right uniforms. Looking good, looking fly. And so my heavy hitter is the MLB The Show finally getting the Razorbacks in there.
Listen, I'm not much of a gamer. Hey, you guys know this. I really only play sports games and like Star Wars and like certain things that I'm like super into. So it's like the MLB The Show is on that very exclusive list. I played last year and I had to go to Cal State Fullerton for college. I couldn't go to Arkansas. They didn't give me that option. I went to UCLA one year too. And so it's nice that, Now we can in our fictional realities we can go play in Fayetteville, take Arkansas to Omaha, and win a national title. Although they don't call it the College World Series. They're just like the Baseball National Championship.
I guess, I mean, I figured there'd be some sort of issue with that when it comes to, the NCAA and whatnot. But I love the fact that it's there. Who knows? Maybe, we did the simulations in football. Maybe we're going to have to do it in baseball. And just for whenever they play one of the other 8 teams or whoever's in there, just go ahead and create the roster and have it do a 3-game series and see how it all plays out in one night.
We'll do the full 3-game series on stream. Just
Yep. Just back to back to back and make it happen. So
when the CPU is issuing like a 2-out walk, we're just gonna be like, oh god, this is the worst.
Yep, exactly. Hopefully there's not any glitches in it like it would be for the football game when, a team would just not go up to the line to kick a field goal and they just let 28 seconds roll off the clock and lose the game, like happened so many times. So hopefully that glitch is not there. But either way, I'm just glad to see it. I think it's cool. It's great for the program. They don't have Dave in there, right? Like Dave's not in the game.
They didn't do any of the coaches last year.
That's stupid. They should have.
Your coach is the same guy no matter where you go to school.
That's
just the way it works.
I was gonna say if they had like really went in depth and had Dave and then like just Nate Thompson and his biceps just out there just looking at stuff like hanging out like that'd be pretty cool.
That was one of the coolest things 2K did was when they had like I think it was like 12 schools that you could do and like they give you I think it's like 4 or 5 games like you have to do like your Midnight Madness in front of your fan base. You have to do like one marquee Madison Square Garden game, then like one maybe like conference game. And then you play like NCAA tournament, like Final Four stuff. And I'm like, gives you like the experience, but you don't have to go through the full grind. It's a pretty cool little thing. So I'm glad. I mean, Arkansas has never been a part of anything like this. So I'm very happy. We were very critical when Arkansas wasn't involved in this last year. We were like, what the hell? How did we miss
oversight, man? Yeah.
So I appreciate them listening to everybody. And, I don't know whose decision this necessarily was, but appreciate those who made this happen.
Yeah.
You mentioned like deviation stuff, and we used to make fun of how they had Sam Pittman looking on there. Does anybody remember from that Memphis simulation what Ryan Silverfield, what his likeness was? Did they get it right? Was it close? I don't know, man.
I have no memory whatsoever.
I don't either.
In that moment, that was like the last thing on my radar.
Him being the new coach. Yeah.
I may have to go and look it up to see if I can go back and find what it looked like, if it is even close. But I have my doubts. I really have my doubts. So, but that's my heavy hitter for today.
Well, one of mine was going to be the stuff that we talked about with the football team and everything. I like that they're doing that. That's cool. We already talked about that. I got to give a shout out. We nearly ended the show talking about how crazy this was yesterday, John, but I got to give a heavy hitter to Darren Peterson, who he's been doing the thing all year where he's just removing himself from games, or his agent is, or whatever, load management. I think I might catch a cramp, so I can't play basketball anymore type of deal. And then he went down there and put Texas Tech on ice last night. I'm financially ruined because of this. All right. And it might be because Grant McCaslin lied on the injury report and Christian Anderson didn't play because of an illness. That's tough. I would have liked to known that before I made my wager. I'm just saying. But I know that was really good stuff from Darren Peterson. He didn't play great the whole game, but I don't know if you guys saw, I think he was at the free throw line at one point late in the first half, and Texas Tech's crowd was chanting, "He's a P word." And then he hit the game tying and game winning 3 in the last couple of possessions to bury those dudes on the road was pretty impressive. So talk about how crazy it was that it just doesn't seem like he likes basketball yesterday. And then he turns around that night and does what he does. He's a heavy hitter for me.
Yeah. That game tying 3, I mean, just absolutely cold blooded. Like I don't even know if he was able to see the basket when he shot it, but man, that's what sucks about the Darren Peterson thing is like, in terms of just actual two-way talent, I think he's the best prospect in the draft. I think he's better than DeBance. I think he's better than Boozer. I think he's better than all these guys. But you just wonder, you're like, what's going on? Is his body going to hold up? Does he even want his body to hold up? I'm hoping that we look back in 5 years and we're like, oh yeah, that was just a weird thing that Bill Self and the training staff wanted to do. And I hope it doesn't, like, it's not a thing that follows him, because he really is. He's kind of must-watch television, if I'm being honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I've got a few heavy hitters. We're gonna start with the Arkansas one. Shout out to Carson Wiggins, preseason All-American. Listen, sometimes you just have aura like that, and even when you're not healthy, you weren't healthy last year and you're not going to be healthy this year. Sometimes Baseball America is just like, you know what, buddy, we think you're about to ball out this year. So shout out to Baseball America, who I think Arkansas led the country with 4 preseason All-Americans. I guess it was Ryder, Cam Kojal, Gabe Gackle, and Carson Wiggins, who let's just get this out of the way now. Carson Wiggins is not going to pitch until at least May. At least May. And then even then, it's a possibility. The way Dave described it, he said he might pitch for us in May and June. He might not. That was the exact way Dave phrased it, which I think is telling of the situation where, listen, this kid that could make a lot of money this summer, you know, if he's feeling great, maybe they will say, hey, let's put him on a little bit of the throwing plan and let's throw him in there. I think that would be sick. I think Hog fans need to be prepared for the fact that he might just not pitch, and not because he doesn't love Arkansas and he doesn't care, but you know, when you have a multi-million-dollar arm and you throw 101 and you're 19, it's, you know, you got to take care of it a little bit. So I thought that was funny. There were some people who saw it and were like, does Baseball America, do they know something we don't? And I'm like, no. In fact, we know a lot of things that they don't know, which is what I've been trying to tell you guys about these national outlets for a long time now. So I just wanted that. I thought that was funny, and you know, wanted to clear up any confusion there. My other one, do you guys acknowledge the original tribal chief or no?
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You can't tell, but my finger's pointed directly in the air. Shout out to Roman Reigns, who won the Royal Rumble and declared last night on Raw he will be challenging CM Punk, who those two dudes have a lot of beef, 2 big stars. You know, let me just tell y'all this. Next time I ask, I want to hear a good solid yes, and I want to see that finger pointed directly in the air. You must acknowledge our original tribal chief.
You know, I asked you on the post-game show Saturday who won the Royal Rumble, and you didn't tell me.
I didn't. I thought I feel like I remember us talking about it a little bit, and I remember like not talking a ton about it. I just thought you were like, "Oh, did you watch it? How'd it go?" I didn't even. I thought you were just asking for like a general review.
I thought
Sorry,
you just,
Roman Reigns won the men's.
I thought you
Liv
didn't want to
Morgan
spoil
won the
it for
women's.
everybody. You know.
Yeah, I know you're a Liv Morgan fan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she won the women's Royal Rumble. Good for her.
I don't follow the storyline close enough to know if I should root for her side of the story or the other chick in the Dom thing.
Oh yeah. Well, so
Or is that over now?
Listen, Curtis, we can't open up this can of worms right now because it would take
right.
me about 30 minutes to break it all down. I can't do that.
Okay.
Right now. I can't do that to our listeners. I
Who
just
am I
can't.
talking about though?
Raquel Rodriguez is who she's kind of in a thing with.
Okay.
But are you thinking Rhea Ripley maybe?
That's who I was thinking about.
See, that's kind of like old news.
That was
We're on
the brief time frame where you had me interested again.
Yeah.
And then
She did snake Rhea Ripley. That did happen.
Okay.
By the way, this was the best thing I could find for Silverfield being in the video game. It's not the greatest graphic, but this is as close as I could get to it.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah, it's not great, is it?
Yeesh.
I mean, it kind of has it's better than the Pittman one. I mean,
I guess
he's got at
that's
least
like
a beard.
a shading thing, but it looks like he's wearing an eye patch, right?
Yeah, I think it's just the shade. Yeah, it's like the shadow of everything. So now, yeah, but I don't think he was wearing an eye patch in the game. That would be pretty crazy if they had him wearing an eye patch in the game. So either way, but hopefully in the next game, which, you know, I just love the fact that, you know, I'm not mad about it, but it's like I bought EA Sports College Football 26 and I never even picked up the controller unless it was for our live streams. And that's it. So it's like, well, it's worth it because we're going to do it again this year. And we're going to have the whole schedule and hopefully they make some of the adjustments to the game. But yeah, we'll have some fun with that. So, all right. So that's our heavy hitters. So getting into a few more of your chats. Appreciate everybody tuning in and hanging out with us here today. Let's see. James says, Arkansas has great athletes. So why do the suck? I think to say they on defense.
Why are they elite offensively? Why does Alabama have great athletes and suck on defense? Why does Florida have bad guards and they're the reigning national champs? Why does Vanderbilt not have a big man? Why does Kentucky have a $22 million roster with no point guards? There are a lot of questions to be asked by a lot of teams, and there's not any real good answers, to be honest with you. It's maddening that they're not better than they are defensively, especially with the dudes that they have returning who were good defensively last year. So some of it's effort based for sure. I said this a million times, but I feel like if if Arkansas just played with consistent high level energy, that there's a pretty high floor for what they've got going on defensively just because of those athletes, but they don't do that. And that would be able to cover up some of the other stuff they have going on, which is some of it's fundamentals, man. Cal's talking about, I think he was talking about Malik Ewan and how he opens up the gate every time somebody tries to bounce it on him. All those guys do that. Like it's a footwork thing. It's a closeout thing. It's defensive stance. It's positioning. It's rotations. And it's a struggle for them. They're athletic enough to where they're still top 70 in defense. I know that doesn't sound great, but a lot of people compare Arkansas to Cal's last team at Kentucky. And this Arkansas defense is significantly better than that team's defense. And I wouldn't have guessed that, honestly. But I went and looked today because enough people have made that comp, and they were outside the top 100. So it can get worse. And it's weird because if you look at it like SEC only defensively, they're right in the middle of the pack. And so I'm like, there's 7 or 8 teams that are worse than this on defense. And the answer is, yeah, they're kind of are. So,
I want everyone to really think about right now, who are the most explosive athletes that Arkansas has on their roster? And while you're doing that, I'll just go ahead and tell you, there's only one guy on the roster who has these 2 traits, explosive athlete and mentally tough. That one guy is Billy Richmond. He's the one guy that has both of those characteristics. Because who are those other explosive athletes on the team? Trevin Brazil doesn't really have that consistent mental toughness. Carter Knox, who allegedly has a 41-inch vertical, he's a very explosive athlete, doesn't really have that consistency and mental toughness on a consistent basis. But like there are other guys, like Malik Thomas is not an explosive athlete. I know he's a great player, great talent. He's not an explosive athlete. He does have the mental toughness, which helps, and that's why he makes the plays he makes. Darius Acuff, I also think, has the mental toughness, but he doesn't have the size or the explosive athletic ability. And then, you can go on down the roster with some of these other guys. Like, it's a problem that some of their most athletic guys, because it's not like Arkansas just has 8 bouncy freak athletes with a ton of size or anything like that. Some of their best players are their least athletic players, actually.
Yeah, it's crazy. It really is. I don't know that anybody anticipated this. We openly admitted from the first time we got to see this team that, hey, they're going to be a lot better on offense. They're not going to be as good as they were defensively. We knew that. The drop off has been kind of crazy there. Like I see this from, and I know it's a shot at Cal and everything, but coaching and roster building, the roster building part of that is what I can't get behind because of the 4 returners you have that set a foundation for you defensively. Were you supposed to project that they would all become worse versions of themselves? Because that's what happened on defense, at least. Trevin actually, whether people want to believe it or not, has gotten better defensively, but the other guys haven't. Billy, who we love for his energy and everything, he's not a good team defender by any measure. And then like the paint stuff, he's like, well, how did they not get anybody to defend the paint? That's what Nick Pringle's done his entire career, and he's done it as a high level. He's been able to stay in the SEC and start and contribute on really good teams and just be in this league for multiple years because he's a good defender and he's switchable and he's tough and he rebounds. Were they just supposed to expect that he wasn't going to do any of those things here? So I can't do the roster building thing with this. On paper going into it, it made a lot of sense and a lot of the pieces fit together there, but on that end of the floor, it just hasn't connected.
Also, Pooh Bear, I was not saying Acuff doesn't have the size to play in the NBA or he's not. We're talking about defense. We're talking about Arkansas as a defense and who's the better defenders. Acuff and Thomas are some of their most mentally tough players, but they don't have the size, specifically Acuff, to be like an impactful defender. That's what I was referring to. I wasn't saying Acuff doesn't have the size to succeed and doesn't have the size to play in the NBA or anything like that. We're talking about as a defender. He is a very below average in the size department when you're talking about trying to defend even at the SEC level.
Also, a few more here that we'll get to, but I did want to bring up that apparently this is kind of off topic, but college football playoff dates have been officially released for this upcoming year and the year after. Guys, there's going to be 52 days between the conference championship game and the national championship game in college football.
Golly,
52
man.
days.
Wow. That's too much. That's too much.
Yeah, it's going to be we're not having it's kind of annoying because so the playoffs quarterfinals Wednesday, December 30th, and then Friday, January 1st are going to be those. And then the semifinals is not until January 14th and 15th for the semifinals. And then the championship game is going to be, of course, according to this, in 21st, I believe. So, yeah, you're talking about 52 days. So, which is not great for anybody involved, but it is great for TV, apparently. So, anyways, hope they get that fixed.
That's you can be a completely different team in 50 days.
Well,
like genuinely, think about Arkansas basketball 50 days ago. That was like November, December.
Yes.
It's a completely different, like, everything. And in 50 more days, they will be night and day different. Like, that's a lot of time.
Do you think about that from the standpoint of who you are at that point versus who you still are in your respective season? But we got to the point where, like, the semifinals and the finals, the new team, next year's team, was already moving onto campus to start spring workouts and classes. Like, 30 dudes out of a transfer portal and 20 dudes from a high school class who aren't even playing on that roster that's still practicing to win a title have moved in to start lifting weights. That's just, I don't know how you can justify that. Well, I do know how you can justify that, John. You just laid it out there, but gosh, that's crazy to me.
Yep. A few more here. Paddlefish, appreciate the super chat. He says, Curtis, could you define the criteria for y'all's SEC basketball power rankings? Is it based on resume or is it predictive, i.e. based on who you would think would win in hypothetical matchups? I'd
encourage you to listen to yesterday's show before we got into that, because we broke down exactly what it was. But this is not a reflection of who we think is going to win the title, at the end of the year, how we think the standings are going to shake out. If we were doing that, we'd have just done our preseason predictions and left it at that. But no, it's an in the moment thing, man. Part of it's your resume and what you've done so far, but I think there's got to be a lean when you're doing power rankings on what have you done for me lately also. And so that's what goes into it.
Yeah. I mean, we have A&M at number 1, both of us, which
and neither of us are going to win the league. Yeah.
Nobody, including people in College Station, think A&M is the best team in the SEC, but they have the best record. They've won the most games. They've been the most impressive. They're coming off another big win. So it's like, it's very much a what have you done for me lately business. And, we adjust as we move on.
Also, Kingsley's been a member for 9 months. Appreciate you, Kingsley. Says, y'all rock, F the haters and trolls. Headed in for prep now. First procedure in the AM. Continue to spread love. And I'll see y'all on the flip side.
Oh my God, today's Tuesday, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd made a mental note in my brain, like Thursday of last week. I was like, Tuesday morning, shoot Kingsley a little text and, wish him well. Tell him we're thinking about him. We're praying for him. Well, best of luck on that, man. Well, we appreciate you for sure.
Yeah, man. Get on that road to recovery. I know it's been I can't imagine how frustrating and difficult it's been for you. So we're rooting for you, man. Like let your main people know first how you're doing, but then, hit us up pretty quick after that. We need to at least be on the second tier of knowing how you're doing.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely thinking about you, man. Hopefully it all goes really well for you. A few more here too. Caleb says, Ellis, only 5 Hog SEC games on national TV this season. Your thoughts?
Okay, I guess now I'm seeing the term SEC, because I was going to say, I thought it was 7, but I guess a couple of these, no, it's 7. It's 7, right? 7 SEC games, 5 of which I think are on SEC Network, and then you got like an ESPNU in there, and then maybe one other ESPN one. I don't have many thoughts on this because it's more or less what it is. It's about this number every year. There's been some years where it's like 4, some years it's 6, some years it's 3, some years it's 8. 7 is about right. Me personally, and I'm the wrong person to ask about this. I have the ESPN app. I don't know. I know a lot of people do still have cable and still consume content that way, but like for baseball season, if you're going to watch Arkansas baseball, you're watching it almost exclusively through the ESPN app, because you got to watch SEC Plus, and then you log in with your cable provider or whatever. So for me, like, this means nothing, because it's like ESPNU versus SEC Plus. That's the same to me. Now I understand some people with cable feel differently, but it's like, is there anybody that's like only going to watch the Arkansas games that are on national TV? I'm sure there are some people out there who are like, I'm only going to watch via cable, but it's like, I feel like if you're really tapped in, you're just watching on the app, in which case it doesn't really matter.
I think the funny thing is that there's only one SEC series where you have multiple games of that series on the SEC Network, and it's Missouri for whatever reason. Yeah.
Not like a Thursday through Saturday thing?
Yeah. It's not Florida, not South Carolina, not Ole Miss or Miss. Nope. you get Missouri. That's your multi-SEC network game and series. So
I do
pretty
love
disgusting.
having the Thursday series because that Thursday, you're the only game. Everyone's watching Gabe Gackle throw. Everyone's watching you do your thing. And I always like being in that spot.
Yeah. Well, said, yeah, baseball will be here 4-0 again next week. I know that myself and Andrew will be down. Andrew's going to be down there the whole weekend. I'll be down there for half the weekend. Come back up for Arkansas basketball against Auburn on that Saturday. So we'll have all the coverage that's happening down there in Arlington for Globe Life. Which is it? Is it the Shriners? Is that what it's called? I always get them all mixed up.
Yes. What's different for different weeks too? They have like different sponsors. Like we were Amagi Bank last year. I guess we're not Amagi Bank this year. But yeah, no, we're with the Shriners, which always appreciate that. They used to be Houston too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
they're
I said,
just out here sponsoring all kinds of different things.
I just call it Arlington or Globe Life because that's really the only things that can matter for it. So
Bob South, as they call it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, fellas, any final thoughts here on the show before we get out of here for the day?
No, sir.
My final thoughts. I actually do have final thoughts, and I need to actually not rant about this, but I need to discuss this with you guys. So I've been wanting to do this SEC this Casual Wednesdays thing, right? I've been hyping this up for a while now. That's going to be our thing every Wednesday. The thing is, it's going to have to move around some because there's going to be weeks in the next however many weeks where Arkansas basketball plays on Wednesday. So obviously I'm not going to do a Wednesday night live stream. So we've got a few options. One, I could start it next week and just, start fresh there. Tomorrow night, I've got an exclusive meeting with Dave Van Horn from 6 to 8. So I'm not going to be able to do a live stream tomorrow night. So would you guys, the audience, prefer me to just do it in the afternoon tomorrow? Do it tonight. I could just do it tonight. I could do it Thursday. I could just save it to next week. I need to hear from the audience. I asked people on Bombastic yesterday. I was like, hey, comment below if you want a time. And like only 2 people did. So, I need a little bit more of a sample size. Yeah.
Well, do that and put out a poll question on social media.
I might end up putting out a poll question. But seriously, if you have a preference, because I know everybody, you've got your work schedule, you got whatever. Let me know what works best for you. I want to meet the fans wherever I can.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let them know and hopefully nail down because that's the thing about like football is easy because it's every Saturday. Basketball is easier because it's like Saturdays and a Tuesday or Wednesdays usually. Baseball, it's like besides like Monday, it's like the only day that really they don't play ever at all. And so yeah, it's always tough to get through it and nail down the schedule and time. So yeah, but once you get it figured out though, it'll be awesome to talk about it and to get into it as casual Wednesdays or casual Tuesdays, casual Mondays, whatever casual. It's going to be casual for the SC baseball slate. But yeah, my final thoughts are just appreciate everybody tuning in and listening in and watching in to Inside Arkansas. Be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas on our YouTube page by hitting that subscribe button. You can also check out all of our audio podcasts wherever podcasts are found, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, the Bombastic Podcast, or the Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast. And we will take it from there. And that'll do it for us today. For Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson, I am John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow at noon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.